I think the Rockets and Spurs should, really think about going for Giannis, especially the Spurs. Right. Rockets, I'm a little less certain about. Do you think either of those teams, Rockets or Spurs, are realistic as teams that could make a hard push for Giannis?
Right now, no. Started with Houston. I do think that, and speaking to the Rockets pretty frequently, they are so high on that young core that even though Giannis is a future Hall of Famer and all-time great, he does warrant the discussion internally of, hey, this is a guy that could be available. What should we do? The problem is that, when the Rockets have spoken to the Milwaukee, just on a regular general, like a check-in conversation, the Bucks keep saying that they're not trying to trade him. And in fact, they're trying to add pieces to him. Now, if you believe that, because the Bucks are where they are, that's another argument for another day. But the price for him alone would probably be way too high if you're Houston. You're asking for probably a Men Thompson, maybe Alperen Sengun, maybe both of them. It's like filler picks, future picks, pick swaps. And the Rockets are top 3 team in the West. They still haven't seen their team at full strength. Dorian Finney-Smith Jr. is going to come back. Tari Easton's going to come back. There's a huge belief within that system that they can challenge for a title right now without Giannis. So they added Kevin Durant, who's playing well with Alperen Sengun. That 2-man game, Reed Shepherd has been fantastic. And Ime seems to have this thing really put together on both ends of the floor. So I do think for Houston, it's not something that they'll be willing to do. And similar for the Spurs as well, because you see now they're in the Cup final. They're 18-7. That was the first game that they had their full team healthy and available. So similar to Houston in terms of trying to mortgage their future, they're not really interested in that right now. It doesn't make a lot of sense for them. Now, obviously, Giannis and Wemby is a basketball player's dream, right? And if you're 29 other teams and you have Wemby, maybe you do go get Giannis. But for where the Spurs are right now, from a culture building standpoint, I don't think that's something that they're pretty interested in right now at this moment.
I don't know. You have a chance to go get a top 20-ish.
I would do it.
Player ever.
I would do it.
I mean, still in his prime years at this point, I think there's a real argument to go get that guy. Especially with the Spurs, they beating Oklahoma City. It's just one game.
Yeah.
It's just one game. You're not going to overreact to it, but they also were 9-3 in games without Victor Wembanyama.
Right.
We know what he's capable of. He can look like the best player in the world on any given night.
Right.
And someday, assuming good health, assuming durability, he will be the best player in the world. That will happen someday if he stays healthy. You got a chance to go pair him with Giannis Antetokounmpo for picks and replaceable level role players as salary filler, and maybe you do have to give Dylan Harper. Maybe you do have to give Stephon Castle. I lean towards trading Harper in the sense that Castle is further ahead with a real solidified role on that team. But there's also a chance you wouldn't have to give up either of them. So there's a chance of that. Maybe you get more picks heavy. So I just think that puts you, even if it's slightly below OKC, it puts you right there with OKC, arguably side by side with them. And it's in my opinion, I think for the Spurs, it doesn't compromise your future when you still would have Victor Wembanyama, who's still just in the infancy of his development, and you'd still have a bunch of other young guys on your team as well. And you'd still have some picks left over. It's not like you're giving up 10 firsts. You still have some leftover picks. And so I think the Spurs could have their cake and eat it too, essentially. Whereas the Rockets, that team's a bit further ahead right now, on paper at least. I think they have an established situation. You would probably have to give up an Amen Thompson, who is more proven than Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle on the Spurs side of things. I think it's a tougher question for the Rockets, considering Sengun and KD, their solidified roles in that Houston offense. And how does Giannis disrupt that, particularly with Sengun? But I think Giannis just slides right into the Spurs and just fits. I think it just works with him. Are there any other teams that you think would be more likely to make an acceptable offer to the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis?
Miami. And I think the Heat are.
Does Giannis want to go there, you think?
That's the thing.
Probably because it's Miami, but
the Knicks are probably they're by and large the favorite. They should be, at least, because that's where in the summer we heard the most noise coming out of, and they talked. But
even the Knicks, how do Brunson and Giannis fit together? Like that, that is a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question. I do think that if you were to use Giannis more kind of like an upscaled version of OG in terms of you could have him as inverted pick and rolls. You could run that for Jalen Brunson. You saw Brunson, who's a willing screener as well, to get Giannis some downhill driving, and you still have the floor spacing in New York. But the fit, it might be a bit clunky in terms of what they already have going on. But Giannis is so good that if you had the chance, my personal opinion, if he's available, you go do it. Now, going back to the durability thing with him and Wemby, we could be seeing a situation where both of those guys are out. And now what do you do? So I think if you're a front office, you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons of both sides because he's not he's not a spring chicken we're talking about here.
It's very possible the Bucks just ended up keeping Giannis here. And, you know, as Eric Neem, your old teammate at The Athletic, reported today, as you also reported that the Bucks are they're signaling they're trying to add.
Right.
I mean, with what assets? Beats me. I don't know what you're adding. I mean, equivalent to Kyle Kuzma, good luck. I don't think there's anything there for them.